Good morning and welcome to Daily Briefing. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. July 4th, 2026.
Today we are tracking a devastating attack in Kyiv, a massive billion-dollar crypto controversy involving President Trump, and a major FBI botnet takedown. But first, it is a clear 58 degrees here in Parker, Colorado, heading for a high of 87 with 10-mile-per-hour winds.
That sounds like perfect weather for the holiday, so let's get into it.
All right, turning to global news, we have to start with the deeply tragic situation unfolding in Ukraine. Rescuers in Kyiv are currently scouring through debris after the deadliest Russian attack on the capital this entire year.
The images coming out of the city are just heartbreaking. Emergency crews are working around the clock, and this really underscores the escalating human toll this conflict continues to take on civilians.
The scale of the destruction in the capital is massive. It is a grim reminder that even as the war drags on, the strikes on major population centers have not slowed down.
It also provides critical context for Ukraine's latest military movements. We're seeing them push back aggressively, expanding their targets well beyond the front lines.
That is exactly what happened near St. Petersburg. Ukraine just launched targeted strikes on Russian oil and military facilities in that region.
St. Petersburg is incredibly far from the Ukrainian border. Hitting targets that deep inside Russian territory demonstrates a significant leap in Ukraine's operational capabilities.
It forces Russia to defend infrastructure hundreds of miles away from the active combat zones. Striking oil facilities specifically disrupts the logistical supply chains that fuel the Russian military machine.
It is a clear strategic shift. Ukraine is showing they can and will bring the economic and structural costs of the war directly to Russian soil.
Moving over to the European Union, we have a highly concerning story about digital surveillance. A forensic analysis by Citizen Lab has revealed that former European Parliament member Stelios Kaloglou was targeted with Pegasus spyware.
The detail that makes this story wild is the timing. Kaloglou was hacked while he was actively serving on an EU committee that was investigating the abuse of commercial surveillance tools.
He was literally investigating Pegasus and similar spyware while his own phone was infected with it. It is a massive breach of security for a high-profile political figure.
It really highlights how vulnerable lawmakers are to state-grade hacking tools. If someone on a committee dedicated to stopping spyware can be compromised, it raises serious questions about the safety of all EU communications.
The fact that it was Citizen Lab that had to find this, rather than internal EU security protocols, is also raising alarms in Brussels. Coming up, we will look at some major regulatory and security developments out of India.
Let's turn to India, where the Reserve Bank of India is reportedly renewing its push to isolate the country's banking system from cryptocurrency.
This signals continued regulatory hostility toward digital assets from the central bank. They're making it very clear they do not want traditional financial institutions mixing with the crypto ecosystem.
It creates a massive hurdle for everyday users in India who want to trade digital assets, as off-ramping to a normal bank account becomes increasingly difficult.
Also in India, a very disturbing report has come out from the BBC. Their investigation found that Instagram has been running paid advertisements promoting child sexual abuse material.
That is an absolute nightmare for Meta. The ads were apparently linking users to external messaging channels where the illegal content was shared.
It raises severe content moderation and safety concerns. The fact that these were paid advertisements means they bypassed whatever automated filters Meta has in place for monetization.
On the defense front, India's Defense Minister Rajnath Singh announced that Operation Sindoor has significantly boosted global and domestic trust in made-in-India defense platforms.
The numbers back up that push towards self-reliance. Singh noted that India's defense production has surged to over 1.78 lakh crore rupees.
That is a massive economic milestone. It shows their domestic manufacturing sector is scaling up rapidly to meet both national security needs and potential export demands. When we come back, we dive into the billion-dollar crypto controversy making headlines today.
Let's talk markets, and we have to start with the massive ethical and financial debate surrounding President Trump's cryptocurrency ventures.
The numbers being reported are staggering. President Trump has reported a $1.4 billion crypto-related income windfall for 2025.
He is actively defending the earnings, telling reporters that there is nothing wrong with the windfall. But critics are sounding the alarm, pointing out that his administration is currently shaping the regulatory framework for the entire digital asset industry.
That is the definition of a conflict of interest. You have the sitting president making over $1 billion from an industry that his own appointed regulators are tasked with policing.
The Guardian is reporting that the public reaction is overwhelmingly negative, with many Americans calling the situation an obvious grift. And the human cost of these ventures makes the optics even worse.
You are referring to the New York Times investigation into the Trump-themed cryptocurrency. They found that nearly 1 million retail investors lost a combined total of $3.8 billion on that specific coin.
It was a highly volatile meme coin, and the massive losses underscore the extreme risks of politically motivated tokens. Regular people bought in hoping to support a political figure, and they lost their savings.
It creates a very dark contrast. The president walks away with $1 billion windfall, while nearly 1 million of his supporters lose almost $4 billion.
The ethical debates surrounding presidential business dealings have never been this intense. Meanwhile, over in Europe, the crypto regulatory landscape is undergoing a massive shift as the MiCA transition period ends.
MiCA stands for the Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation, and EU regulators are now expected to enforce the rulebook much more strictly. Unauthorized cryptocurrency firms are going to face serious operational challenges.
We are already seeing traditional finance step up to comply. Standard Chartered just joined the European Securities and Markets Authority's first updated MiCA register since the deadline passed.
They are one of 37 new crypto asset service providers added to the list. It is a clear signal that institutional compliance is growing under the new EU framework.
In a related security development, Belgian police have arrested the suspected leader of a phishing gang tied to a massive theft.
The gang stole over $572,000 from victims, and they laundered the stolen funds using cryptocurrency.
It highlights the ongoing security challenges in the digital asset space, even as regulators try to lock down the legitimate exchanges. Coming up next, a massive botnet takedown and a critical Linux flaw.
On the tech side, a newly disclosed Linux kernel vulnerability named Bad Apple is causing major panic across the industry.
This flaw allows unprivileged local users to gain full root access. It affects servers, desktops, and millions of Android devices.
Getting root access means the attacker essentially owns the device. But the most fascinating part of the story is how the bug relates to artificial intelligence.
The Bad Apple bug was hiding in the exact same code block where Anthropic's Mythos AI model recently discovered a completely separate vulnerability.
That is incredible. It shows that when an AI model flags a specific section of code as suspicious, human researchers are now going in and finding even more historical flaws that were missed for years.
It is a massive shift in how cybersecurity research is conducted. Speaking of massive security operations, Google has partnered with the FBI to disrupt the NetNut residential proxy network.
NetNut was huge. It turned roughly 2 million home devices into traffic relays, allowing malicious actors to mask their online activities by routing traffic through innocent people's home routers.
Taking down a network of that size significantly degrades the infrastructure that hackers rely on to launch attacks without being traced.
It is a huge win for law enforcement, but it also reminds us how easily our smart home devices can be co-opted into criminal networks without us ever noticing.
We also have a disclosure from security firm RunZero regarding 7 unpatched vulnerabilities in FATFs. This is a widely used file system library embedded in millions of devices.
Because FATFs is used in everything from drones to hardware wallets, these flaws expose a massive attack surface. And since it is embedded deep in the firmware, Patching it across all those industries is going to be a logistical nightmare.
In active threat news, the North Korean hacking group behind the contagious interview campaign is back. They just published 108 malicious packages and browser extensions in a new campaign called PollenWriter.
The PollenWriter campaign works by compromising developer accounts. They use those trusted accounts to distribute malware and steal sensitive credentials from other developers.
It is a very sophisticated supply chain attack. Mac users also need to be on alert for a new information stealer named PamStealer.
PamStealer masquerades as the legitimate open-source clipboard manager called Mackie. It uses fake websites and clever PAM checks to trick users into handing over their Mac login passwords.
Shifting to artificial intelligence developments, the open-source community is celebrating the release of Leanstral 1.5.
This is a free, Apache 2.0 licensed 6B parameter model that is specifically designed for formal mathematical verification.
It is achieving state-of-the-art results on complex benchmarks like Putnam Bench and Mini-F2F. Advancing automated reasoning in AI is a critical step toward models that can actually prove their logic rather than just guessing.
Finally, in science news, astronomers have discovered a potentially habitable, Earth-sized planet right in our cosmic neighborhood.
Finding Earth's new next-door neighbor provides a crucial target for researchers. They can now focus their instruments on studying its atmospheric conditions to check for the potential of life outside our solar system.
It is always wild to think about what might be out there, especially when it is practically in our astronomical backyard. When we return, we have a huge celebrity wedding and some major World Cup updates.
Turning to sports and culture, the entertainment world is buzzing because pop star Taylor Swift and NFL player Travis Kelce have officially tied the knot.
And in a twist nobody saw coming, the ceremony was reportedly officiated by actor Adam Sandler. The photos from this event are going to break the internet.
It is a massive pop culture milestone, uniting the worlds of music, professional sports, and comedy in one high-profile union.
Moving over to the World Cup, the bracket for the knockout stage is officially finalized. Colombia secured the very last spot in the round of 16.
They pulled off a tense 1-0 victory over Ghana. The win keeps Colombia's championship hopes alive as we head into the most critical part of the tournament.
The U.S. men's national team is also making headlines, but not for a victory. FIFA just confirmed a one-game World Cup red card ban for Folarin Balogun.
Balogun reacted to the news by calling the experience a roller coaster. The suspension temporarily sidelines a key forward for the national team, right when they need his offensive production the most.
Losing a player of his caliber during crucial tournament play is a tough blow for the U.S. squad, and the coach is going to have to get creative with the lineup.
Finally, in the NBA, Jason Tatum has released an official statement following the Boston Celtics' shocking decision to trade his longtime teammate Jaylen Brown.
Breaking up that duo marks a major roster shakeup for the franchise. It completely alters their championship contending core after years of building around the two of them.
Tatum's statement was emotional, acknowledging everything they built together while looking ahead to the new era in Boston.
It is going to be very strange seeing them in different jerseys next season.
The intersection of politics, finance, and technology is moving faster than ever, and the stakes for everyday people are only getting higher.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care, everyone.